Why my wicked uncle turned me into a yam to be sold in the market. I felt the chill of death before I even understood what was happening to me. It wasn't just stiffness, it was a horrifying petrification that seized my lungs and silenced my spirit. My body grew rigid, my breath vanished, and my voice was gone, trapped behind a sealed-off vault of silence. I tried to scream, to call for help, but the air in my throat was being violently pushed out by something dense and fibrous, something replacing my very tongue. My eyes could not see, not because of darkness, but because the soft flesh was hardening, forming a thick earthen shell. My legs, my strong, quick legs were fusing together, twisting into a dense, rooted base. All I could feel was the cold, suffocating touch of dust and the thick, musty smell of earth. That was the moment I realized I had become a yam. The last thing I saw before the world disappeared was the cruel, triumphant smile on my Uncle Eze's face. He held a small charm ring that glowed red like burning coal. His eyes were wild with victory, his voice low and full of wicked laughter. He slipped the ring onto one of my fingers, and instantly everything went black. The metallic click was the last sound of my human life. I was being buried alive in an earthen tomb that was my own skin. The taste of dirt, clay, and damp rot was the only thing I could breathe. He carried my stiff, dense body to the yam barn behind our compound. He threw me among the other tubers, whispering, "Let's see who inherits my brother's wealth now." Then he walked away, humming a sickening song of deceit. Lying there in the darkness, trapped beneath dust and silence, regret filled me like poison. If only I had listened to my mother's warning. She had said it countless times, "Don't trust your uncle, my daughter. His heart is not clean. He's waiting for a chance to destroy us." But I didn't listen. I was fueled by youthful arrogance. I thought she was being paranoid. Before I continue, please, if you are listening to my story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, because what I'm about to tell you could save someone's life. My name is Adeze, the only daughter of Chief Okafor of Umudike village. My father was a man of great wealth, but more importantly, a storyteller and a man of great foresight. He owned farmlands that stretched beyond the hills, and he adored my mother and me. He would lift me high on his shoulders and say, "Adeze, you are my legacy. Everything I have and everything I know will one day be yours." Those words planted the seed of fatal jealousy in my uncle's heart. When my father died suddenly, Uncle Eze's envy grew darker. His first attempts to seize control were crude. He tried to marry my mother to take control of the property. My mother's rejection was firm. "You want to marry me to take control of my husband's property? You think I don't know?" From that day, peace left our home. He would shout insults at my mother, yet when the villagers scolded him, he would weep and pretend it was grief. But then, he changed his strategy. He directed his kindness at me. He began visiting when my mother was away. He brought me sweet bread and fine clothes, but more insidiously, he knew my weakness, the thrill of forbidden adult attention. He would praise my intelligence, telling me I was too sharp to listen to old women's fears. "Your mother is scared of the world, Adeze, but you are a child of your father, a future leader." Slowly, I began to believe that maybe he truly cared. My mother saw the closeness and became frantic. One night, she pleaded, her hands shaking, "Adeze, you must never eat anything from your uncle. His kindness is poison wrapped in love." But I didn't just ignore her. I resented her fear. I remember the moment vividly. I snapped back, "You are just jealous that he pays attention to me, Mama." That was the moment I gave him the knife to stab me with. One afternoon, Uncle Eze came to our house, smiling. "My dear niece," he said softly, "I brought you roasted plantain and palm wine. I know you love it." He watched me eat, his eyes gleaming. Within moments, the world began to spin. I fell to the ground, gasping. And that was when he pulled out the ring and whispered, "Now you'll never stand in my way again." The yam barn was not silence. It was the sound of 1,000 hungry insects and the relentless whisper of rotting earth. Every time my uncle entered, humming that sickening tune, I felt my earthen skin prickle with helpless awareness. People searched for me everywhere. My mother wept day and night. My uncle was at the front of every search, crying louder than everyone. "Oh, my brother's only daughter. If anything happens to her, I will never forgive myself." Everyone praised him. Weeks later, the greatest terror began. He carried me to the marketplace with other yams. The noise, the chaotic, joyous noise of life was torture. Every voice that paused near the mat, every shadow that fell over me was a harbinger of doom. A young man came by, not Mama Ngozi. He paused, picked me up, and pinched my skin hard, checking for freshness. He shrugged, finding me unsuitable, and tossed me back down. In that agonizing moment, I felt the pure, desperate terror of being casually destroyed. Then came Mama Ngozi, a kind widow. She looked at me and hesitated. "This yarn feels heavy, Eze. It carries a strange warmth, almost like a heart beating inside." She bought me anyway. When she got home and placed me on the table to cut, she froze. A clear, firm voice whispered in her ear, the ancestral voice, a sign the gods had intervened. "Don't cut. This yam hides the soul of an innocent." Shocked, she ran to call the chief priest, Elder Ogwezi. The priest came, recognizing the signature of the red ring curse. He began to chant sacred words, battling the forbidden juju. He poured palm wine on me, drew chalk symbols, then shouted an ancient invocation. There was a blinding, violent explosion of light. The yam shell cracked and peeled away from my body, an agonizing, deafening sound of shattering earth. I fell to the floor, gasping, covered in dust and the residue of the curse. My voice returned, not as a word, but as a deep, wrenching sob. "My daughter, who did this to you?" the priest asked. Through tears, I told them everything. The next morning, the village summoned my uncle to the square. He arrived with fake tears, running towards me to play the part of the devoted relative. But the priest, his staff glowing red, intercepted him. "Eze, your lies end today." At first, my uncle denied everything, clinging to his role. But when the priest recited the hidden counter-incantation, the red ring didn't just appear, it burned itself onto his finger, fusing with his skin. He began to tremble, sweating and shaking. Then he screamed, "Yes, I did it! I was supposed to inherit my brother's wealth, but he gave everything to his wife and daughter." The crowd gasped in horror. The priest lifted his staff, called upon the gods of justice, and recited a powerful curse of reversal. Within seconds, my uncle began to twist and bend. His scream was choked by the rapid growth of rough, bark-like skin. Before everyone's eyes, he turned into a gnarled, twisted, black market yam, a perfect mirror of his wicked heart. That cursed yam was taken to the forbidden forest, a place where greedy, corrupted souls never rest. Jealousy devoured him, and greed became his undoing. If you enjoyed this story, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more African tales, African stories, African fairy tales, and African folk tales filled with mystery, wisdom, and moral lessons from our land.